Hello everyone, how are you? I hope all of you are doing really good. So welcome to another session of strategic management. And let's continue with our discussion on our first chapter, that is Introduction to Strategic Management. In the last lecture, we discussed about the two components of the strategic intent, that is vision and a mission, right? So we have covered both the things. The vision is the long-term thought process, that where we want to see ourselves. Mission is what currently we are doing, and with that, whatever we are currently doing, what we want to attain in the future using that thing, right? Whatever we are currently doing, with those practices, with those goods, with those products, with those services, where we want to see ourselves in the next few years, right? That is a mission, right? And the mission gives an identity to the organization. For example, we took the example of HDFC and ICICI, right? So now the next topic is goals and objectives. Now what is that? Just try to understand. I'll just summarize a little bit, right? The summary as of now, I have not prepared for goals and objectives and values. I will prepare it and provide the summary file. Do not worry about it, as we have discussed in the last few lectures, right? But I'll summarize this topic. I'll give you the overview, and then we will read that topic. You will be able to understand in a better way, right? Now, let's say you are going to do CA, right? Now, in this, what is your vision? What is your vision that we have framed? Your vision is top practicing chartered accountancy firm. That you should be, that your vision is that one day, after becoming a chartered accountant, one day you will be heading the India's top practicing chartered accountancy firm. The people will say not big four, it will be big five then, right? You will make the fifth top firm, auditing firm, right? The practicing chartered accountants and all those things, right? Fine, sir. Now, for that vision, you have a certain mission. After vision, we say there is a mission. What is your mission? What is your mission in this? The mission is to clear all CA exams. Mission is to clear all CA exams in first attempt, right? This is your mission, that currently you are going to start with the CA, and what you want to attain in the coming future, in the near future, is you want to clear all your exams in the first attempt. Now, to clear all your exams in the first attempt, or to, I can say, how to reach your mission, you will have to take some action. It's time for the action plan. After mission, what is there? After mission, it's time for some action plan, right? It's time for an action plan. And what you are going to do is, in that action plan, the first thing that you are going to make is a goal. What is your goal? You will make a goal now, right? What is that goal? For example, let's say how you are going to prepare a goal. Your first goal will be to clear the CA foundation exam, isn't it? To clear the CA foundation exam. That is what you are setting a goal. To clear CA foundation exam, right? So you are breaking down your mission into now goals and objectives. You are converting your vision and mission into the action plan now, because without action plan you won't be able to attain your mission, and ultimately if your mission is not attained, how can you reach your vision, right? You will not be. Can you say that without clearing the CA exams you will make the one of the best practicing chartered accountancy firm? No, isn't it? So the goal is to clear CA foundation exam. This is a goal now, right? This is what you have defined. Next, after you have set your goal on the CA foundation exam, let's say the upcoming attempt is November attempt, whichever year is, to clear the CA foundation in November exam, right? This is what your goal is now. In the next coming attempt, whichever the next coming attempt is, I am going to clear my examination. Now, after the goals, what you are going to do is you are going to set certain objectives. you are going to set certain objectives. What are your objective? Your objective now is to study 16 hours every day, right, and cover 2 subjects in those 16 hours, right? Now this is what you are breaking down the goals into the objectives. First you are breaking down the mission into the goals, then you are breaking down the goals into the further objectives. Objectives means the specific components, right, that this is what we are going to do, right? So that is why goal is what? This goal we call it as, it is a broader term. It is broader. Although this goal and objective are used interchangeably, but there is a slight difference between the two. The goal is what? The goal is broader and open-ended. Broader and open-ended. So there are no definite, the deadlines which you are setting in the goal. The only thing is, want to clear CA Foundation in November exam. That's it. Right? That is open-ended. You are open to, for example, anything happens, you can shift it to May. Now, to make this happen, to achieve your goal, you are setting the certain objectives, and objectives you are going to follow on the day-to-day basis or on the monthly basis, right? To study 16 hours every day. Now you are giving the particular specifications, right? You are giving what? You are giving the certain specifications. When you specify the things, that is now converted into an objective, right? And what is the need of these objectives, sir? Objectives are going to give you a direction, that how you are going to reach your goals and ultimately your mission, right? Objectives are going to work as the yardstick. That means you can compare your actual performance with these objectives, whether you are actually studying for 16 hours or not. Similarly, the businessman is going to set the objectives and then going to compare it with the actuals, right? So they are providing the basis for the comparison of your actual activity. First is the objectives gives the direction to the activity. Whatever the activities are to be done, it gives a direction. Now, yes, this is what you have to do. Specific. This is the topic that I want to study. That is an objective. Objectives can be for 1 day, for 15 days, for 1 month. It can be like this, right? The goals are the broader and the open-ended terms. Let's see. The business organizations translate their vision and mission into goals and objectives. The term goals and objectives are often used interchangeably. The goals are open-ended attributes that denote the future state or the outcomes, right? This is what we are saying. This denotes the future state, that I want to clear foundation in the November examination, right? It is telling us something about the future state of that what is going to happen in the future. It is an open-ended attribute. It is not close-ended, right? It is open-ended. Open-ended means there is no particular specifications in it. We are keeping it open till November. Let's see how the preparations are going to be. Let's see how we are going to proceed till November. We can make changes in this. Clear? Next, objectives are the close-ended attributes which are precise and expressed in the specific terms. This is precise. I want to study for 16 hours. In those 16 hours, this is the topic that I want to cover, right? Objectives are an organization's performance targets, the results and outcomes it wants to achieve. That what is the performance? Performance targets are obviously I want to study for 16 hours and cover 2 subjects. This is what? How you are going to perform, how you are going to prepare. This is the performance target, and with this you are going to compare your actual performance and with the standard performance. We studied about the variance analysis or standard costing. There also what we are doing, we are setting the standards, right? We are setting the certain objectives. Objectives serve as the standards. Then we compare those standards with the actuals, that whether whatever we have planned for, the things are going as per the planning or not. Clear? So objectives are the organization's performance target. They function as the yardstick for ranking an organization. Ranking, not ranking, right? Organization's performance and the progress. Objectives provide the meaning and the sense of direction to the organization endeavor. Endeavor means the activities. It gives a meaning to those activities that yes, these are the specific things to be done, and it gives a sense of direction. Objective act as the benchmarks, standards for guiding the organizational activities and for evaluating how the organization is performing. So it acts as a benchmark that how the activities are to be done, how you are going to prepare for your examination, and after all, evaluating whether the things are being achieved or not. Right? So this is about the goals and the objectives. Then characteristics of objectives. If you talk about objectives, characteristic, I'll give you one brief thing regarding this objective. So we are going to talk about the objectives here now. He says when you talk about objectives, objectives are based on 5 things. Objectives are based on the concept of what? They are made on the basis of SMART. SMART is what? The objectives should be, I'll say S, M, A, R and T, right? Now, what is meant by this SMART technology, right? S, M, A, R, T. You have to remember this, right? SMART. You have to remember this. SMART means the objectives should be specific, right? Objectives should be measurable. Because if it is not measurable, then you will not be able to compare your actual performance with the objectives, right? Objectives should be achievable, right? Or we can say it should be realistic. R means it should be relevant. Relevant means relevant, the relevancy in respect of your goals, in respect of your mission, in respect of your vision. For example, you are preparing for CA, but the objectives you are setting for what? You are setting for playing a cricket game or watching a TV. You are setting the objectives that I am going to watch TV for 3 hours. You are not setting the objectives for the number of hours you are going to study. You are setting the objectives for the number of hours you are not going to study, right? That is what is known as the relevancy. And the objectives should be time bound, right? That whatever you want to achieve, it should be time bound, that in the next 3 months, for the next 3 months, I will be studying 16 hours every day and cover 2 subjects in those 10 hours. Or even if you can specify the topics, I'm going to cover this on this particular date, right? So objectives work on the SMART technology. Objectives, the strategic objectives are developed using this, that this is the characteristic basically. The objective should be specific, it should be measurable, it should be achievable, it should be relevant, it should be time bound, right? Objective, you have set an objective that you want to cover 3 chapters in 15 minutes, whichever subject it is, whether it is strategic management, whether it is costing, 3 chapters in 15 minutes. Is it achievable? No, sir. And after 3 to 4 hours, you say, oh, I've set the objective of just 15 minutes. I have taken 5 hours for completion of that. How now the comparison, is it the real comparison? No, sir. Right? So that is why we say the objectives should be achievable. It should be relevant to your goals, relevant to your vision and the mission, right? Very important. Another example of goals and objectives, if you want. Let's say you have set a goal. What is the goal that you have set? The goal is going on a road trip. Going on a road trip, right, with friends. Now this is what? This is your goal, that in the next month, I'll be going on a road trip with the friends. That is my goal. Now this is open-ended. It can change. The programs can change, right? Now, are you going to just sit in the car and start? You want to go on a vacation or a road trip, and without any further planning, you will just sit in the car and take your friends and start driving? No, sir. For this, you will set certain objectives. What are your objectives? The specific things, like when are you going? When are you going? Right? Where are you going? Where are you going? Then related to the accommodation, right? Then related to the route, which route is to be followed. These are what you are going to set the certain objectives now, right? These are the specific things that you are going to set so that you are able to reach your goal, that is going on a successful road trip with the friends. Clear? This is how the goals and objectives are going to work together. So, characteristic of objective. The objectives should define the organization's relationship with the environment. The objectives should define the organizations, that how the organization is interacting with the environment. The objectives should be based on that. Right? They should be facilitative towards the achievement of the mission and purpose. Obviously, the objective should be keeping in mind what are your goals, what is your mission, what is your vision. Right? They should provide the basis for strategic decision making. Obviously, decision making, whatever the strategies are to be followed, the various decision making, the objectives will provide the basis for that, right? For example, in this particular case only, when you are setting the objective for 16 hours, now this will give you the base for further decision making, that in those 16 hours what you are going to study, how you are going to study, how many hours you are going to spend on WhatsApp, how many hours you are going to spend on Instagram, and how many hours you are actually going to study which topic, right? So this is what the objectives are going to give you a base for that strategic decision making regarding the various things. They should provide the standards for performance appraisal, yardstick, standards, benchmarks, whatever you may call it. The same, it means one and the same thing. They should be concrete and specific. They should be concrete and, it should be concrete and specific. They should be related to a time frame, right? Time bound, that we are saying. And they should be measurable and controllable. They should be challenging. Yes, challenging is very important. Objectives should be challenging, right? Even here, if you are going to just set an objective of I am going to study for 2 hours a day, is it challenging? Anybody can study for 2 hours a day, sir. The challenge is studying for actually productive study for 16 hours a day out of 24 hours. That is what is challenge. Right? You have to give yourself challenge. That is why I told you this subject is one of the most realistic subject. You can relate all these things to your real life, right? Now, different objectives should correlate with each other. If you are setting the multiple objectives, then there should be a correlation between the objectives. It is not like one objective is going in some other direction. For example, here you are setting two objectives. One objective is 16 hours every day. Right? Second objective is covering 2 subjects. Now they should correlate, right? Or what you are doing is you are setting one objective to study for 2 hours a day, and another objective says cover 2 subjects in 16 hours. Is there any correlation between the 2 objectives? Then how will you reach your goal and how will you reach your mission? With the objectives which are working in the absolutely different direction, will you be able to clear the examination? No, sir. You will not be able to clear the examination. The problem definitely is going to come. Objectives should be set within the constraints of the organizational resources and external environment. Very important, sir. When you are setting the objectives, right, at this particular time, you should know what are your limitations. You are setting an objective of 16 hours, but your limitation is that you cannot study for 16 hours because of any circumstances can be there, right? Some students, they come up with the circumstances that, sir, we are doing job. All those who are doing job, let's say it's a 9 to 5 job. Can they study for 16 hours every day? No, sir. So you should know what are your constraints, right? Constraint means the limitations. You should know your limitations here. Constraint here means the limitations. You should be aware of your limitations within which you have to set your objectives. Or the external environment. External environment, how? So there is a marriage in your home, right, in the next month, and you have set an objective that for the next 3 months I am going to study for 16 hours every day, then what happens, sir? External environment is there, right? That is going to hit you, isn't it? So your objectives, you should prepare the objectives considering the limitations as well as the external environment. Limitation of the resources, if we talk it from the business point of view, whatever the resources business have, right? For example, the business is having just 5 lakh rupees in the bank account, and they have the objective of spending 10 lakh rupees on innovation and all those things. They are targeting, how can they? Their resource is 5 lakh rupees and you are setting an objective of spending 10 lakh rupees on R&D. How can you spend 10 lakh rupees if you have only 5 lakh rupees in the bank account, isn't it? So whatever the objectives you are setting, you should first know what are the limitations in regard to the resources that you have, or in regard to the external environment, constraints that are definitely going to be there. You should be aware of that, right? Now they say the objectives can be long-term objectives and the short-term objectives, right? Now what are the long-term objectives? The objectives can be long-term and short-term. If you come back to this part, sir, this part of the objective, which part, sir? Highlight this part of the objective. I am setting it as a long-term target that for the next 3 months, every day I'm going to study for 16 hours a day. Now this is what? This is a long-term objective. Now according to this, you will prepare certain strategies, right? So long-term objectives represent the results expected from pursuing certain strategies. Strategy is what? Studying 16 hours a day. This is what the strategy is, right? And long-term is what are the benefits? Long-term objective is what are we going to achieve by following these strategies for the next 3 months, right? That is the objective. Objective is we will prepare all the subject in the next 3 months, right? By following a strategy of studying 16 hours every day. That is what is a long-term objective. The strategies represent the actions to be taken to accomplish the long-term objective. Time frame for the long-term objective is usually 2 to 5 years, right? Remember this, 2 to 5 years. Now strategies are what? Strategies are going to give you the action plan, that how you are going to accomplish your long-term objective. Long-term objective is what? To complete all the subject in the next 3 months. Then you prepare the strategies that how you are going to do it, right? In the next, from business point of view, this long-term objective is taken for 2 to 5 years. Right? That in the next 2 to 5 years, what is our objective? We want to earn this much profit. We want to earn 10% profit. We want to earn 20% profit. We want to increase our profit in the next 2 years from 10% to 20%. This is the objective, right? This is in the next 2 to 5 years. Strategic planners commonly establish the long-term objectives in the 7 areas. That is regarding the profitability, like the example I just took, that today the profitability of the company is 5%, and the strategic planner says in the next 2 years we want to convert this 5% to 20%. This is the objective that we want to achieve. Objective, this is the specific terms that we are setting, right? The vision is in the next 10 years we want to reach at the top. But objective is specific in terms of a particular thing, that today the profitability is 5%. In the next 2 years, we want to convert this 5%. We want to take this 5% to 20%, right? Productivity, competitive position, that in the next 2 years, for example, if you have listened to our Prime Minister, Honorable Shri Narendra Modi ji, what is his objective? One of the objective it talks about again and again, that in the next 2 to 3 years, we are going to take India to the 3rd position in terms of the countries, the leading countries, in terms of GDP, in terms of one of the best countries. We are going to take India from 5th position currently to 3rd position. That is his objective, right? Competitive position, that in comparison to the others, where we see ourselves in the next 2 years. Employee development, how we are going to train our employees. What are we expecting? We have to set the objectives that we want to hire so many employees and we are going to train them in a particular way. Employee relations, technological leadership. What is the technological advancement we will be targeting? Objective, right? Public responsibility, that what we are going to do for the public in the next 2 to 3 years. These are the objectives. These are the long-term objectives we set, that is for the next 2 to 5 years, what the company wants to achieve, right? Fine. Then short-term objective. Short-term objective focus on attention on delivering the immediate performance improvements. Immediate performance improvement. That is, the short-term objective is that every day I'm going to cover 2 subjects. This is a short-term objective, that you are setting the objective for every day. Why you are setting is so that you are able to reach your long-term objective. Right? So short-term objectives are what? These are the baby steps which lead you to the long-term objectives. Simple. Remember this. Short-term objectives are what? Short-term objectives are the baby steps that lead you to the long-term objectives. Right? Remember this line. So they serve as the milestones in achieving the long-term objectives. That is what I just told you, that short-term objectives are the baby steps that are going to take you to the long-term objectives. Right? Remember this line. You can write it down in the books if you want to, right? Always, because these things, these things you will remember for a longer period of time. That is why I'm taking up these, the lines in between that. So the short range objectives can be identical to the long range objective if an organization is already performing at the targeted long term level. If you are already working at that level, right? Working at level is if you are already working for 16 hours a day, if you are already on the path of completion, then short term objectives will be along with the long term objectives. They will match with the long term objectives, right? Okay, now the clearly established objectives offer the following benefits. What are the benefits if you are clearly going to establish the objective? See, just think about it. What are the benefits? Sir, you will be able to achieve your goals, right? The clarity amongst the employees will be there, what they want to achieve. The direction will be very much clear, that in which direction the organization wants to move, right? It provides the direction, allow the synergy, that is the coordination between all, aids in the evaluation, that whatever the standards that you have set, whatever the objectives or goals that you have set, are you on the right path? Establish the priorities, that what is to be done first and what is to be done later on, right? If you are going to make the objective that today I am going to do material costing, that is the important part rather than the other chapters, right? Then reduce the uncertainty, minimize the conflicts, because everything is clear, sir. Stimulate exertion, aid in the allocation of resources and the design of jobs, right? So what is this exertion in that? This exertion is the physical or mental effort, mental or physical effort, right? So if the objective is there, then only you will bring this into action, into usage. If there is no objective, then why to put some burden on the brain, isn't it? So aid in the allocation of resources and the design of jobs. So these are the things which the objectives provide the benefit. Clear? Direction, synergy, evaluation, priorities, uncertainty, conflicts, exertion, allocation of resources, right? So this is all about the goals and objectives. I will provide the summary, don't worry, right? Currently the summary notes right now I have not prepared because I'm working on that. Because initially it was not a plan providing the summary notes, but I will prepare and provide you. It will be something related to this only, right? We will this 1, 2 and 3, almost 2.5 pages. I will summarize it into 1 page, right? For you people only. Okay, because it's fun putting in some extra efforts for you guys, and expect one thing from you guys, that please give your reviews, give your feedbacks also, that how you are working on the lectures and how you are finding the lectures. So we have covered the next part of this, that is the strategic intent. Now the next part is the values. Now what are the values? Values are the core principles that define the organization. Strategic values are what? They are the core principles on which your organization is going to work. All the activities of the organization are going to directed, right? So a company's values set the tone for how the people think and behave, especially in the situations of dilemma, right? So these are the core principles. Values are the core principles on which an organization is built. Core principles on which an organization is built, right? So these are the core principle. Values include what? Values include the integrity, trust, accountability, humility, innovation, and diversity. Integrity means that whatever the work we are going to do, it is going to be ethical and transparent. Integrity means, okay, I'll write it down here, a few things. What we are talking about is, we are talking about a few things. One, we are talking about the integrity, right? What is integrity? Integrity is working ethically, right? And with transparency, right? We are not going to hide anything from the people, and whatever the actions we are going to take, that is going to be ethical and in accordance with the laws, whatever the laws are there in place, right? That is integrity. Now it is a value that defines you, right? That I am not going to do, whatever happens, I'm not going to do any bad work, any wrong thing I'm not going to follow, right? Whether I suffer losses, but I'm not going to follow a wrong path. That is what, that is a value that gives, the value of the organization, value that is being set by the top management of the organization, right? Trust, that we are going to build the trust of each and every person, right? We are not going to break the trust of anyone. Accountability, we are accountable for whatever the services or whatever the products that we are providing, right? And we hold true to our words. Humility, we will always be down to earth. We will consider the customers as the king, right? Innovation, we will keep on working on the new ideas. We will keep on bringing the new things, right? Seeking the new ideas, new solution. Diversities, we will, we are not going to limit ourselves to just one product or one service. We will keep on diversifying, but keeping in mind our limitations, right? So values include all this thing, that how you are going to perform, how you are going to be in the market, how you see your customers, how you are going to provide your products and services. That is what, all these are what the values. How you are going to deal with your customers, that is again a part of your value. Customer focus, prioritizing the customer needs and problems. Sustainability is again a value, that how we are going to sustain, how we are going to consider the impacts on the environment and the social in decision making, society. That is again a part of values, right? What else can be there? I'll add a few things. One is the customer focus is also a value. Customer focus. Then sustainability is again there. Sustainability means that considering economic and social impacts of their decision making. Economic and social impacts. Right? Now, this values create a sense of shared purpose to build a strong foundation and focus on the longevity of the company's success. Obviously, if you have the good values, if you have the very strong values, it will give you a strong foundation. And on that foundation, you can definitely build up an empire, right? But important is your values should be in the right direction. The values have both the internal as well as the external implications. Internal as the external. What are the internal values? That is, the employees prefer to work with those employers, right? Prefer to work with those whose values resonate with them, the ones they can relate in their daily work and personal life. For example, there is an employee who is a very honest employee and he joins an organization. The organizational value says that you have to say a lie to the people, to sell your product, you have to tell a lie to the people. Now that person, will that person work in that environment? No sir, because he is an honest person. His values, his personal values, they do not allow to do such a thing, right? So this is known as internal. External is the customers will trust that brand whose values resonate with the values of the customer. Right? External. Majority of the consumers would prefer to buy product and services from the companies that have a purpose that reflect their own value and belief system. Right? For example, I'm just taking one very simple example. Let's say there is a person who is purely vegetarian, right? And I've seen some people, this is a very real life thing, I've seen some people who go to the restaurant where only and only they are getting the veg thing, right? No non-veg is being prepared. Some people are there, that is what? They are going to a restaurant, they are getting a service which resonates with their belief system, right? They believe that we want only a restaurant where only a vegetarian food is being provided, right? So this is what? This is the consumers' values are resonating with the values of the restaurant. The restaurant also says we are providing only the veg food. Clear? So this is how the external thing is there. So values, sir, everything. The first thing when you are starting an organization is the value. So values are the biggest thing. Intent, mission, goals, objectives, everything is going to be prepared keeping the values of the organization in mind. That is the most important thing, right? So that is what he says, the value remains the center or the core of vision, mission, goal, and putting them all into action. Vision is followed by mission, followed by goals, and finally executing via the real actions that we have discussed. Example, HDFC Bank business philosophy is based on 5 core values, right? That is operational excellence, customer focus, product leadership, people, and sustainability. That is what HDFC Bank says. Okay, now what is the intent? He says intent versus value. Intent is why you are doing that business. It doesn't say that whether it is right or wrong. The intent says the purpose of doing a business. The value says that how you are going to do a business. Whether you are going to do it in the right way, or what are the values that you have while doing a business, right? So intent is the purpose of doing business. Values are the principles that guide that how that intention should come into the action, right? How you are going to convert that intention into a business plan. The values give you that principles, that guide, right? That guide decision making of the business. Both intent and values go hand in hand, while intent is sometimes driven by the values. Obviously, sir, the intent, whatever the intent you are doing, that your values are there in the intent. Right? But value is a wider term than intent, right? Obviously, intent is just the purpose. The values reflects the bigger thing, that how you are going to do, what are the various things that you are going to focus on, how you are going to serve your customers, how you are going to serve your suppliers, how you are going to interact with them, right? How you are going to make the payments to your customers, how you are going to collect, how you are going to make payment to your suppliers, how you are going to collect the payments. All these are what? All these are values. Intent gives us only the purpose of doing business. Why we are doing business? Are we satisfying any customer needs, or are we solving any particular problem that was required to be solved in the society? So intent is that. Intent is a part of the values, a small part of the values. Clear? So this is all about the strategic intent, that is goals and objectives, and the values. In the next lecture, we are going to talk about the strategic levels in the organization at which the strategies are prepared, right? And let's see, most likely we will be able to cover it in the next lecture. The first chapter part will be over, then we will discuss the questions of the ICAI module, then we will move on to the next chapter, that is chapter number 2. Right? So this first chapter is quite near to the completion. Please revise whatever we are covering right by right, and I will provide the summary of this very soon to all of you. Right? So see you guys in the next lecture. Till then, stay safe, stay healthy, keep studying, keep sharing. Thank you so much.